This structure, which most of you know of as a mushroom, is a fungus. And if we cut the mushroom down the center, and we could take a microscope and look at what the mushroom is made up of, we would find that this stalk and this cap, and indeed most of the fungus, is made up of filaments, hyphae, which are compressed together and which make up this entire structure, which we call a mushroom. Many, many hyphae, many, many filaments. So let's look a little bit at this mushroom in the soil. Let's look at what it is attached to and what forms it. And if we look at the typical mushroom, here's the structure I just showed you, the mushroom, and I said that it is made up of lots of filaments, lots of hyphae, and that makes up the entire body. And it's connected to the ground. And if we look a little more closely at this particular mushroom, it's just not sitting on the ground. It is connected to many, many, in fact, to a large mycelium. A large mycelium in the ground. And indeed, most of the mass, most of the biomass, most of the organism that we call a mushroom is below ground. We only see the top portion of the mushroom when it is produced from the mycelium. And we'll talk about that a little more next time. So when you remove a mushroom, when you harvest it, you're leaving most of the organism in the ground, and that same spot would make more mushrooms, presumably as long as it wasn't killed, next year. This mycelium, what is it doing? It is sitting in the ground, and it is absorbing, it is secreting enzymes, and it is absorbing nutrients from the soil and transferring those nutrients, presumably up to the structure that we call a mushroom. Now, I want to just introduce you to looking at one of these mycelia under a high, or one of these hyphae under a high power. We're going to just take one of these filaments now, and we're going to look under high power, and I want to introduce you to a particular point. If we could look at the cells in this particular mycelium, we would find that each cell has a nucleus. And if we look at this nucleus, measure its DNA, we would say that this cell, and this will take you back to probably high school biology, you may have to look up your biology in the textbook, we would say that these cells are haploid. That's an expression of how much DNA is in this cell. And it's a relative to number. And we define haploid, we say when a cell is haploid, we say its nucleus is N. Now, the important term that I want to introduce you to with regard to the nucleus in the fungi, and this will take us back next time, is that in this particular filament, we see each cell has one nucleus. And this might indicate to you that there are some cells with more than one nucleus. And in this particular state, with one haploid nucleus, we call this a monokaryon. One nucleus, a monokaryon. And next time on Friday, we will continue talking about the life cycle of the fungi, beginning with this monokaryon state.